Welcome back to News USA. It is February 20th, 2021. And in the news here recently, President Joe Biden has been starting his push for more gun control. And that's starting to make a stir, and people are getting a little bit upset about it, understandably. Now, you see here on your screen, I'm on joebiden.com/gun safety / whatever. Yeah, that's where I am. So if you want to go take a look at this, you can go take a look at it and just take a look at it for yourself. I believe this was put out before the election. So these were some of his gun policy promises or whatnot. And it's actually quite lengthy. If I'm still scrolling. I mean, I originally thought about taking the time to go over each and every one of these, but I mean, that would be a long video. So maybe save this for a live stream or something like that. We can get other people involved and kind of talk about it. But just wanted to run over a little bit of it. You can see there, I mean, I'm scrolling for quite a bit. It's quite expansive. Let's take a look at what this says. Joe Biden knows that gun violence is a public health epidemic. Almost 40,000 people die as a result of firearm injuries every year in the United States, and many more are wounded. Some of these deaths and injuries are the result of mass shootings that make national headlines. Others are the result of daily acts of gun violence or suicides that may not make national headlines, but are just as devastating to the families and communities left behind. Okay, I'm just going to read that opening segment, that opening part right there, and then I'm going to move on. But we'll just take a couple of quick glances over some of the policies that he's talking about. Hold gun manufacturers accountable. I'm guessing that's saying, if somebody commits a crime or whatnot, whoever the manufacturer is needs to be held accountable. Get weapons of war off our streets. Ban the manufacture and sale of assault weapons, which, I mean, it's already pretty difficult to get an assault weapon. Regulate possession of existing assault weapons under the National Firearms Act. I mean, it goes on and on. Buy back the assault weapons and high-capacity magazines already in our communities. So he's talking about a buyback program. Reduce stockpiling of weapons. Like I said, it goes on and on and on. Well, here's the truth of the matter, folks. Now, I know that this is a hot topic and this is a hot, debate, but the truth of the matter is the overwhelming majority of guns in this country are used safely and in a responsible manner. That's just the absolute truth. There is really no reason for this push for any type of legislation against high capacity magazines or what they call assault rifles, which anything that looks intimidating is considered an assault rifle. AR does not stand for assault rifle. It stands for Armalite rifle. They were the original manufacturers of that type of weapon, if I'm not mistaken. And, so I really don't understand what the push is really against higher capacity magazines, or what the push is against, AR-15s. They love to point them out. That they always use these mass shootings at schools and whatnot as their reasoning for why. Look at this. Hold on. I just got distracted. Together we can make Donald Trump a one-term president and defeat Republicans across the country. Yeah, this is old. Let me get back on track. They always like to use these mass shootings and everything as their logic behind wanting to have some more or expansive legislation against gun rights. And but I mean, it absolutely makes no sense when you delve into the data. If you take a look at the data, it really doesn't add up. And thankfully, I have it pulled up over here. So let's take a look at it. We are at ucr.fbi.gov, and this is the murder victims by weapon. And this is showing 2015 through 2019. Okay, so let's take a look at these numbers. 2015 total, 13,847. Total firearms, 9,143. Handguns, 2015, 6,194. So 6,194 people were killed by handguns. Let's go to rifles. AR-15s are rifles, 215. So handguns, 6,194. Rifles, 215. Shotguns, 248. Other guns, 152. Now, let's take a look at something interesting in 2015. And there's a pattern. Knives or cutting instruments, 1,533. So we're talking 4 or 5 times more than actual rifles when it comes to deaths used by knives or cutting instruments. Now, let me show you something else that is quite interesting. Rifles, 215. Personal weapons, hands, fists, feet, etc. 651. 215 to 651. You're more likely to get murdered by a left hook or a roundhouse than you are a rifle. And the pattern continues. Let's jump over here to 2016. Total firearms, 10,398. Handguns, 6,778. Rifles, 300. Let's go to knives. 1,562. Now, if we jump back over here, in this plan, it said hold gun manufacturers accountable. This law, let's see. In 2005, then Senator Biden voted against the Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act, but gun manufacturers successfully lobbied Congress to secure its passage. This law protects these manufacturers from being held civilly liable for their products, a protection granted to no other industry. Biden will prioritize repealing this protection. So we already see that you are more likely to be killed by a knife than a rifle. Overwhelmingly more likely to be murdered. And most of this is, violence, people arguing, fighting, stuff like that. Not just random acts. There's more information on that, but I don't want to get into all of that just now. So you're more likely to be killed by a knife. Are we going to start suing Betty Crocker? Is Betty Crocker going to be held responsible for, or whoever that, other manufacturers that make knives? I don't know. I don't know that many knife manufacturer names. Look at this. Blunt objects. I passed this one up. I missed this one. Blunt objects, clubs, hammers. 438 to 215 when it comes to rifles in 2015. 466 blunt objects, hammers, etc. Rifles, 300. This is 2016. So you're more likely to be killed by knives, a hammer or a club, or hands and feet than you are a rifle. Way more likely. So what is the issue? Let's jump over to 2017. 7,000 handgun deaths, 389 rifle. Let's stick with what we were doing. Knives, 1,608. Blunt objects, 474. Personal weapons, hands, fists, feet, roundhouses, left hooks, right hooks, 715. You're more likely to be killed by someone's foot or hand than you are a rifle. So what is the push against? What is the push against the rifles or your quote unquote assault weapons? What is I really just don't understand it. I'm just trying to go off of pure logic, pure data, what the issue is. What are we trying to solve here? If that's not even the major problem, it really just doesn't make any sense to me. 2018, handguns, 6,683, rifles, 305. Knives, 1,542. Blunt objects, 455. Personal weapons, hands, fists, and feet, 712. 2019, 6,368. I mean, it is a clear pattern here. And all of the numbers are relatively the same. They kind of average out. It's strange. I mean, look at this, 651, 712. I mean, there's just a small range there. I don't really understand what the push is against rifles or high capacity magazines if they aren't even the main culprit in deaths or people being killed. Now, I understand that, you do have a crazy person out there who, gets a weapon and goes and, shoots up a school or does whatever that they do. But the truth of the matter is, at that point, when somebody has already decided that they're going to kill somebody, that they're going to shoot up a bunch of people, they don't care about the laws that you put into place. Criminals don't care about the laws that you put into place. Most gun owners are responsible, and they have weapons or whatnot because they want to protect themselves or protect, their homes or their families or their possessions. Let's just be honest. Police only respond. They aren't there when the trouble starts. Someone breaking into your home, you can't say, hey, time out, buddy. Let me call the cops real quick so we can level the playing field and let's wait for them to get here and then let's get this thing going. It doesn't work that way. Cops respond. If all of this legislation and everything is passed against guns or whatnot and people are unable to protect themselves, the only two factions in this country that are going to have the ability to do anything is the government and criminals. Every single other law-abiding citizen will just be a sitting duck, or they'll become one or the other. And more than likely, they'll become a criminal because there's caps on government positions. So I really don't understand what all of this pressure is, what it's coming from when the numbers don't even support what they're pushing towards. It doesn't even support it. The numbers don't support it. Reduce stockpiling of weapons. I mean, what if a ferry had 100 weapons? I mean, who's it bothering? Keep guns out of dangerous hands? Great. We should do that. And for the most part, we already do. We have a criminal background system. And for the most part, we don't legally sell guns to people who are dangerous. Most people who are dangerous are probably criminals anyway. Require background checks for all gun sales. That's trying to stop the gun show loophole or buying online or whatnot. But I mean, it just really doesn't make any sense to me. I'm really just trying to understand what the push is against high capacity magazines or AR-15s, which they love to call assault rifles, which they're not assault rifles. They're not fully automatic. They already did the bump stock thing or whatnot. I'm not sure if that's still in place or whatnot, but there seems to be this vast push from the left to where they are just trying to get rid of these scary looking guns. And I mean, we can pull up the data. It just doesn't support it. Are we going to ban hands and feet now? You got to register your hands and feet, because you're more likely to get roundhoused and die than you are to get shot with an AR-15 or murdered with an AR-15. But I don't know. This video might be getting a little bit long-winded. If you're still here, I appreciate it. Thank you. Again, you can go and check this whole thing out for yourself if you want to, joebiden.com/gun safety. If you want to go through and read through everything. I mean, there's a bunch to it. You can go through it and take a look at, some of the things that may be good. I'm not saying that everything about it is wrong, but the what they're pushing for just doesn't make sense in my idea. So if you're still here, thank you. I appreciate your support. Make sure you subscribe, share, like. I try to keep everything as balanced and as fair as possible. I don't really just lean to one side and beat and berate, either the left or the right. I try to come to logical conclusions here on this channel and have logical thoughts and discussions or whatnot. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Thanks for stopping by, and I appreciate it. Stay tuned to News USA.